Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, November 10, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at what the US National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that they still have the southwestern Caribbean highlighted, and they have upped the chances from 20% to 30% today. According to the Hurricane Center states, a broad area of low pressure is forecast to form in the southwestern Caribbean Sea by the middle of next week. Thereafter, environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development of the system while it meanders in the Caribbean Sea through the latter part of next week. So it's going to be meandering. The Hurricane Center isn't sure exactly what is going to unfold, especially considering that the two models are disagreeing on the timing as well as on the intensity. And we can see that right here with the model forecast. The Euro model right here is showing the next 144 hours. This is valid for 12:00 on Thursday morning. So this is 7 a.m. Thursday, November 16. And we see that we have a lot of greens that represent moisture, trying to get a broad area of low pressure to formulate, maybe get its act together. It is not so strong on the Euro at all. It is just quite a big mess of showers and thunderstorms by that time. But look at the GFS model. The GFS has a lot of circles, a lot of contour lines that represents low pressure, a well-defined area of low pressure, as well as a center of circulation, maybe trying to get a tropical depression, tropical storm, or even a weak hurricane formulated. And we even see a lot of yellows and reds and even pinks in there that represent some tremendous rainfall for the same time period, 144 hours, 7 or 1 p.m. on Thursday, just a couple hours shy of what the Euro model was showing. We do see that there is some drastic difference in what both models are showing, and we know when it comes to these things we have to look for consensus. We have to look at what both of the models are showing, and we don't see the consensus clearly. The GFS is much stronger than what the Euro is showing around the same day, and the Euro is still way down in the southwestern Caribbean. The GFS is closer towards Jamaica, and the GFS has been showing this. It has been very persistent for the past week. We shall see which one of these models actually win. Either way, we have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds, because all of this is not set in stone. The GFS can change its mind tomorrow and start to show more of a solution to what the Euro is showing, staying down in the southwestern Caribbean. We could see something change. Maybe it affects more in the way of the Cayman Islands, Western Cuba, or the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Honduras, or Nicaragua, instead of moving towards the northeast like what the GFS has been showing. Which is why it's important to stay updated, because these models can change their mind very quickly. So ensure that we stay updated to see exactly what unfolds. Alright, so let's just take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that we have a trough right there affecting portions of Central America, as represented by those broken orange lines. Another trough affecting portions of the Dominican Republic. We can also see that we have high pressure ridge that's sending a lot of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. Taking a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with that trough affecting portions of the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, with some amount of overcast skies, showers and thunderstorm today, some of this spilling into sections of Haiti. We can also see all of these clouds pushing their way from east to west, the low level clouds that is, across the main development region into the Caribbean. And we can also see those high cold cloud tops being blown off to the east by that upper level wind shear. We will be talking more about the weather across the Caribbean later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. It was stated that more rain was in the forecast for sections of eastern Jamaica, And considering that I reside in eastern Jamaica, I can confirm that yes, it indeed rained in my portion of St. Thomas for today. And it was also stated that some of this could spill into sections of some northern and western parishes during Friday afternoon. And we know when we're talking about eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, St. Thomas. Western parishes, we're talking about St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. And northern parishes, we're talking about Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. And what ended up happening? As early as 8:16 a.m., we had the visible satellite images of Jamaica showing clouds coming into sections of eastern Jamaica, bringing some amount of isolated showers. So we definitely got some amount of morning rainfall across sections of St. Thomas and Portland this morning. And by afternoon, we saw that we had a buildup of clouds, bringing some isolated thunderstorm activity, more so across sections of some central and western parishes. So definitely sections of Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth, just as predicted. Not so much for northern Jamaica, but definitely sections of St. Catherine got in on some of that during the afternoon hours. And we can see that even better if we take a look at the visible satellite images. We have that low level easterly flow across the island. Then by afternoon we had those high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the south by that upper level wind flow. Not to mention the sparkling white dots that we know indicate some amount of lightning flashes, if not lightning strikes, across sections of the west. So definitely sections of St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland got in on some of that afternoon thunderstorm activity. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images from the Cuban radar site right now, we do see some greens and yellows that represent rainfall coming off the west coast of Haiti to the northeast of Jamaica right there as well. Not much taking place across Jamaica at all. What we see right here with the yellows and reds and greens, all of that is a glitch. It's ground clutter is what it's referred to as. And we know that when it's actually rainfall, we see it over the blues, we see it over the sea, and we actually see it moving in a directional fashion. So whether it be east to west or north to south, whatever the case may be. And we don't see much of this ground clutter moving in a specific direction, it just stays there. So that's how we know that it is a glitch. Hopefully we get our Jamaican radar up and running very soon, so that we don't have to be depending on the Cuban one. Alright, so let us take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours across Jamaica. So this map does indeed confirm the rainfall that we saw on the satellite images and the Doppler radar images today. We definitely had that rainfall across eastern Jamaica, definitely St. Thomas and Portland. Not to mention inland areas of some central parishes, just like what we saw, as well as sections of western Jamaica, definitely Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. As it relates to the temperatures right now, we can still have 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by 3 a.m. on Saturday, the temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and 23 degrees Celsius in Kingston. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that Jamaica is still embedded in some yellows and oranges that represent even up to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, as we can see by the key on the right. And this is valid for 18th on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday. And we know the average temperatures across Jamaica for the month of November are about or around 88 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 88 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 33 degrees Celsius at most across the island for Saturday. As it relates to the dry air map, we can see that Jamaica is still embedded in a lot of blues, a lot of moist air. Majority of the dry air that we can see being represented by the key at the bottom, yellows, then oranges and reds and whites within those reds. Majority of the dry air is across the Gulf of Mexico, to the north of Cuba, across portion of the main development region, especially off the northwestern coast of Africa. Taking a look at the wave forecast, we do see much of the same, with the high wave heights, especially across the south coast for tomorrow, as indicated by the purples. They could be getting into 2, even 3 meter wave heights. and that's because the winds are going to be strongest on the south coast. You can see the yellows that represent even up to 25 knots, while the north coast should be getting in on anywhere from 15 to 20 knots at most. All of this coming in from the east, and we can also see that air should be piling up across sections of some western parishes. We see those darker shades of blues, and we know what usually takes place. Those cumulus clouds become cumulonimbus clouds. Then we have that afternoon thunderstorm activity, and with the upper level winds coming in from the northeast for tomorrow by both the Euro and the GFS models, we can see all of those high cold cloud tops that we saw today being blown off towards the south and west. So that would favor more of the thunderstorm activity across sections of some southern parishes, more in the way of overcast skies as well. And we know southern parishes, we're talking about Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. Let's take a look at a breakdown of the rainfall forecast. We know the blues represent the rainfall, and what do we see? By about 5 a.m. Jamaica time, we see the blues across eastern Jamaica. Definite sections of St. Thomas and Portland getting in on that morning rainfall. That's just the Euro model. What does the GFS model show? Something similar. The blues across eastern Jamaica. So definitely more rainfall in store for sections of St. Thomas and Portland at that time. Skipping ahead to about 9 a.m., we can still see much of the same. Some of these blues across eastern Jamaica, maybe spilling into sections of some northern parishes, maybe St. Anne, St. Mary. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are showing something similar. Skipping ahead to about 1 p.m., we do see something similar as again blues that represent rainfall across the east now spilling into sections of the west, starting to incorporate sections of Hanover, Westmoreland, and we do see something similar on the Euro model as well, even although the Euro model is starting to incorporate more of St. James and Trelawney, Clarendon, St. Catherine, and St. Anne. We're more to believe what both of them are showing, and that's definitely eastern parishes, St. Thomas and Portland, and western parishes, definitely Hanover and Westmoreland. Let's take a look at the 4 p.m. time slot. What do we see? Much of the same. We don't see the blues across eastern Jamaica on the Euro, but we do see it on the GFS model. Where we see consensus now for that time is definitely a section of some central and western parishes in Jamaica where we see the blues. So definitely that's what we're looking for, the consensus. And when we see consensus like this, the certainty is high, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Let's take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast. Both of these maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. And we do see that yes, we're gonna be in for some amount of rainfall across sections of Jamaica for tomorrow, but majority of the rainfall should be across eastern Jamaica, as we can see. The Euro showing up to 0.39 of an inch of rainfall across eastern Jamaica. The GFS is showing up to 0.33 of an inch of rainfall. So I guess the Euro is a bit more robust than the GFS. Either way, rainfall is definitely in store for especially eastern Jamaica on Saturday. And we're indeed grateful for that. We usually receive an increase in the amount of rainfall during this month. We're still in our primary rainy season. Our primary rainy season is September through to November. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get before we head into the dry period from December to April. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we do see that we have some clouds that represent a cold front affecting portions of the southern and eastern United States. We can also see that we have clouds bringing thunderstorm activity to sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Honduras, sections of Nicaragua, sections of Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, southern Venezuela, sections of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands. We especially see the rainfall across sections of Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, and we can see the rainfall even better across the northeastern Caribbean. When we take a look at the Doppler radar images, we do see that right now we don't have much taking place across the Leeward Islands. There's some hit or miss showers here or there. The majority of the rainfall associated with that trough are across sections of the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, more on the lighter end of the scale as we can see by those greens. As it relates to the Barbados radar, Barbados definitely gotten on some rainfall today, and more to come tonight, into tomorrow as well, coming in from the south and the east. We can also see that rainfall affecting portions of Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines right now. They're definitely getting some light to moderate to even heavy rainfall. The light rainfall is represented by the blues, the moderate, greens, and the heavy rainfall, the yellows and even oranges as well. And we see majority of the Windward Islands are getting in on some of that as we speak, as well as into tomorrow. Taking a look at the wider field of Doppler radar images, we do see that majority of the rainfall is missing the ABC Islands to the north. We also see a lot of rainfall affecting portions of Honduras, Belize, as well as the Yucatan Peninsula, associated with that trough that we mentioned earlier on the satellite images. As it relates to the temperature forecast, we do see average temperatures are in store for majority of the Eastern Caribbean for Saturday, as we don't see much shadings of blues or yellows, oranges at all. Majority of the Eastern Caribbean definitely going to be receiving normal temperatures, but the above normal temperatures should be across the Central and Western Caribbean, not to mention the Gulf of Mexico and the southeastern United States. As it relates to the wave forecast, we do see that majority of the Caribbean should be getting some very high wave heights, 2-meter wave heights or more, and we can see that's because of all the purples that's being represented on the map, due to the fact that we're going to be receiving some strong winds coming in from the east. Lots of yellows in there that represent 25 knot winds or more, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS models. I know that when both maps are showing something similar like this, yes, the chances of detection happening are much higher. So definitely some strong winds, especially to the south of Jamaica, south of Haiti, north of Colombia. Some very strong winds are in store coming in from the east. As it relates to the rainfall forecast, both of these maps from the Euro and the GFS models are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. This is valid for 3Z on Saturday. When we calculate that, that's 10 p.m. on Saturday. So we see that both maps are showing something similar. Definitely not much rainfall for sections of Florida or the Bahamas, but sections of Cuba, some isolated showers. Eastern or southeastern Cuba, more of an increase in the rainfall, not to mention sections of the Turks and Caicos, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. More in the way of isolated showers for the Leeward Islands, the sections of the US and British Virgin Islands, sections of St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda. But we start to receive an increase in the rainfall around Guadeloupe, Dominica, a decrease around Martinique, but then another increase in the rainfall across sections of St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, especially where we see those purples. Maybe some isolated flash flooding could be taking place across some spots. Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Guyana, not so much across sections of French Guyana, but maybe some isolated shores for Suriname. Even although the Euro model is the one showing more of that rainfall across that spot than the GFS, we can also see Venezuela in store for some rainfall, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, sections of Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, and the Yucatan Peninsula, not to mention sections of the Cayman Islands in store for some amount of isolated shores. I know that when both maps are showing something similar like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.